Hello, happy New Year to you.
Thank you,
If
Roger.
just, if just first of all, can I ask you about the significance of this match and taking Brentford into a semi-final of a major cup competition against Tottenham?
Yes, you can, and I'll come back to that. I just have one point I would like to get out there. The first thing is, I think it's very important that EFL, Premier League, the FA is finding some kind of guidelines that is going to be across the four leagues and the cup tournaments in terms of these COVID regulations. We all know we are living in a world pandemic, and safety first for everyone involved in the game, but also in the society. And there is definitely, I know it's very, very difficult for the organizations to get it right, but I'm talking about, of course, our game against Bristol was postponed. I know the Wimbledon game in League One, they were not allowed to get their game postponed, even that maybe had more cases than the Bristol game. I don't know. Then we know there's been Premier League games been postponed and cancelled. So I don't know how many players that need to be either being tested positive or having symptoms or whatever. And I know it's very difficult from situation to situation. I just think it's very important that we have some guidelines that is going to be the same across all the games, because it will add up, and we're going to play so many games this season already. So when will they find the space to play the remaining games? That could be a tricky one. So that was just the first point. After that, I'll answer your question.
Okay, if I can just pick you up on that, we'll come back to my question. I mean, people will point out the fact that you got the extra days rest by not playing the game at the weekend, but you're just more concerned about this situation then, and the impact that it's having on league fixtures, cup fixtures, and trying to run a football team in general.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not against Bristol or that Wimbledon game couldn't be played, or the Fulham Tottenham game or whatever. It's just that if we don't have a consistent way of postponing games, it can add up too much, and in the end we will maybe need to either extend this season again, and then we'll aim into the Euros. We all know that will be an issue. So there's a lot of teams. I think of the big clubs that, because they play European, they don't have any space left if there's going to be another game postponed. So we need to be so much aware of this. And of course, I know there is a certain number. Then you maybe can't put a team out there. So it's tricky, I know, but a very how can you say, very good guideline across the four leagues and cup tournaments would really be helpful, I think.
But you're asking for the authorities to come up with some guidelines. How strict are you being with your players when you see perhaps players from other clubs who have broken protocols and so on? How strict are you in terms of reinforcing the messages to your players? And are you comfortable that they are following those instructions?
I think it's a difficult time for all people in football and outside football. We are doing our very best to try to reinforce the messages in terms of two things. One, for society and the UK population, and also in a performance aspect. We need to have all players available, not getting caught out by isolation or getting the virus. So we do our best to reinforce the message, but it's in the end down to the individual person or player to act professional, not only in football, but also in life.
And when we see these cases where players have broken protocols, and we often see the club saying, "Oh, it's being dealt with internally," is that satisfactory, or do you think when you talk about the authorities taking a line on this, that perhaps externally the FA, the EFL, the Premier League need to step in, and it's not enough perhaps for just the clubs to say we're going to deal with it?
Oh, that's a very tricky one. I don't have a really good answer to that, I must say. I think we will also deal with it internally if it happens to us, and I understand why the different clubs are doing that. Everyone is aware that we are role models, and I think we need to try to be aware of that. I say that to our players. I'm pretty sure the other coaches or managers are saying that in their clubs. Yeah.
And if I can just ask you about the significance and talk about the actual match and the significance of this fixture, Brentford in a semi-final of a major cup competition taking on Tottenham.
Yeah, of course, it's a massive game. It's in some ways unknown territory for us. We've never been in a semi-final in one of the two cup tournaments, so it's a huge game that we are looking forward to play. We will do our best to attack and try to take our chance against a top side, a top team in the world with top players and a top manager. So looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot, Thomas. I'll let the others get on. I'm sure they'll ask you a lot more about the match.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Thomas. How are you?
I'm fine. Hi, Ian.
I just want to ask you one about coronavirus. First of all, has your team been tested ahead of the game with Spurs, and is everyone okay? And secondly, are you still happy with the season continuing? I mean, restrictions are getting tighter and tighter outside of football.
First, all the players and staff members are tested negative, so that's very positive. That everyone is available, so that's good. Yeah, I think I'm happy for us to continue. I think if you look at I can only speak of our training ground, but what I'm listening to from speaking to colleagues and the players are speaking to other players, stuff like that, more or less across the country, it's like very clinical places, the training grounds and the games in the stadium. So everyone is very aware of following the restrictions and make it a safe place to perform. So I think it's important, actually, maybe even more important than ever, that the football is continuing. I think for a lot of people, it's a light in the dark, that they can cheer on their heroes. So I think it's important that we do continue.
And are you surprised that there have been, over the weekend, so many stories about players breaching COVID-19 rules? Because, I mean, after all, we're dealing with adults. We're dealing with people that are generally, I would suspect, quite smart. They speak multi-languages. You know, if I told my 14-year-old girl not to go out, she wouldn't go out. But if you tell a 28-year-old man, he's liable to. I didn't know. Somewhere along the line, I didn't quite marry the two up.
No, I think we're all people, and sometimes people make mistakes. Hopefully learn from it and move forward. It is very tricky situation we are in. Of course, we all know that we need to follow the rules, but we also know that we're not allowed those speed limits, so we can't sometimes not drive more than 50 miles per hour. I think I can pull my hand up and say I sometimes drive 55 miles per hour where I shouldn't have done it. So it's so difficult. But of course, we need to follow the rules and we need to be really firm on it, and in terms of encourage each other and help each other, so we can get out of this pandemic as quick as possible.
Finally, two more on the game. First of all, semi-final tomorrow. How much do you draw on the experience of the playoff semi-final from last year? I know this is only one game, not two, but in a sense, the prize was exactly the same.
Yeah, I think it was a tiny bit bigger, I would say, in August. But it's a massive game for us. We will do our very best to perform and have that. You know, we know Tottenham by far the favorites. Everyone is speaking about them having won a trophy. I don't know for how long. So, and we know they have the best manager for that in Jose Mourinho, who is got that winning formula. So he will definitely set his team up, and they will come with their strongest possible. Because one thing I've learned about watching Mourinho over years is that he there's no details that are too small. So they will be top prepared for this game, and they will do everything they can to win it. we will of course do our best to play our chance and try to take it.
And my final question was going to be about Jose. I'm sure you never ever get starstruck. I'm sure you're never ever intimidated by somebody in the other dugout. But you are up against one of the world's greatest managers, which must be a thrill for you to pick your wits against him. But do you have to sort of put yourself in your own little bubble and forget it's Jose Mourinho?
Yeah, I would say that when you still is a relatively young manager, and you followed or have studied football for many years, and Jose has been is one of the greatest in all time. Of course, it's a privilege to meet him and to play against his team. I'm looking forward to that. But we all want to compete, and I want to win. He want to win. And we'll do everything we can to win both managers, both of us. I'm not in doubt about that. I think the way, of course, not being I love the story. Of course, not being a top player himself. So of course I like that story sometimes a little bit more because it's the same background I have, and I admire a lot him for having that fantastic career, being in more or less all of the biggest club in the world and perform in all of them, winning trophy in all of them. That just tells everything about him. So but when we blow the whistle, it's just another bloke who's standing in the other dugout, we are competing, and I'm still pretty sure that he also goes to the toilet sometimes.
Have a great time tomorrow night. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thomas, hi. It's Phil here. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Phil.
Just quickly on Jose, just following up what Ian said there. I mean, as we know, you are a great student and study of football coaching. Where does Jose rank, do you think, as a coach certainly in the last 20 years for you, and what he's done and how he goes about his job?
I would. He is right up there among the greatest. The way he managed to set a team up to win not only a single game but also a season is remarkable. And he's showed that he can win with the best team in Madrid or in Chelsea, or he created the best team in Chelsea, so he created that himself. But also, one of his greatest achievements was with Inter Milan. The way they won the treble was remarkable. And also Porto. I actually watched that Champions League final live. I was in Schalke, I think it was, to watch that final in 2004. So he is one of the greatest ever. And also his methodology is well known in how he trained the game, all aspect of the game. There's all stones are turned, all details are analyzed, and that's why I know it's going to be a tough opponent, because he will respect us, because he know if you want to win a trophy, he need to be sure that everything is bang on against us. And if they are bang on, yes, of course, then they are better team, better players, and then they should win. But football is football, so that's why, of course, we know we have a chance.
And you go into this game with great momentum, Thomas, with this unbeaten run that you're on. I would imagine the squad is pretty confident of their ability and their approach to this game at the moment with this run that you've been on, and different types of wins, different types of getting results in the last 15, 16 games.
Of course, we are confident but humble going into this game, and we need, we're playing against a world-class team with maybe the two most informed strikers in Kane and Song. Definitely a pair of strikers or pair of offensive players. So we know we need to be bang up there. But if we don't believe in ourselves, if we don't give it a shot, then there's no reason for us to turn up tomorrow. So of course we will be on it and do everything we possibly can to perform and try to win.
And obviously Saturday's game against Bristol City was called off pretty late. Maybe that's not satisfactory because you'd like to keep the run going, but in one respect it did give your players a bit of a break at the weekend. Is that a positive that's come out of that? Positive, if you see what I mean, the positive results, but is it something at least the players got a bit of a break?
Yeah, I think it's one of these where we've been doing unbelievable well in terms of 12 games on a spin, not only when it was 16, but since November international break, playing Saturday midweek, and we were ready to do that again. But also when you do that, as I said, you can't play all players 90 minutes. You need sometimes to rest them a bit to generate that freshness. So of course, with that in mind, we would have a tiny bit more freshness for this game, and instead of only a 2-3 days turnaround. No doubt about that. But again, is down in the lower percentages in terms of how much is add to our top performance. But maybe that will be the decisive factor.
And most of the squad is fit. How many of them have been knocking on your door wanting to play in this game? Because I'd imagine every single player, even if they're only 50-60% fit, would want to be out there in your starting 11. You must have been a very popular man this week, even more so than normal, Thomas, with players, I don't know, little gifts, little bribes to be in your starting.
I got some nice chocolate, and apples, and no, they want to play. They know it's a big game. They want to test themselves against the best, and I will put a strong team out there tomorrow. Let's see what kind of lineup it will be, but I will put a strong team out there, just like I did in the last 4 Carabao Cup games or in the last run of games.
And just finally, just in regards to the squad, is there any extra news? Is Christian back available?
No, Christian's not available. The rest is available that were involved in the Bournemouth game. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Thomas. It's Jerry here.
Hi, Jerry.
We've just been talking to Josh Da Silva, and obviously he's getting a lot of attention. He's now an England under-21 player. Brentford do have a record now of selling players, and last year, obviously, Ollie and Saeed have gone to the Premier League. Is this a good thing that your players have that extra incentive that they can perhaps go on to sort of higher things, whether they're with Brentford or not?
Yeah, it is only positive. Because if we have good players that are catching the eye from Premier League managers, that show a quality sign of that we are doing a good job, both in recruiting some talented players, but also hopefully do a good job in terms of making them better and make them perform together. And if we have players that catch the eye, hopefully together we can perform and hopefully also do quite well. And I prefer we go there ourselves with the whole team. But if that's not possible, we are proud of and very aware of it's a big business that we need to create players that then can be sold for a lot of money.
And again, how important is it for the development of players like Josh and Ivan Toney and the others to be playing in these big games against, as you say, world-class players, whether it's Harry Kane or Hugo Lloris or any of the other top players at Tottenham?
No, that's a big test. I think they'll prefer that we do it every single week instead of just sometimes in the cup. But of course, it's going to be a big test for us tomorrow, and we're looking forward to it.
And the Tottenham Stadium, obviously, do you think that gives them a big advantage, even if there aren't any fans allowed?
No. I don't think it matters that much. They know they are the favorites, and they know they're a good team. So no, I don't think so. I think it'll be the same.
And just finally, I asked Josh the same question, and he came with a predictable answer. But Kane and Son are in tremendous form, like you say, perhaps two of the best informed strikers in the business at the moment. Do you have a special plan, or is it really just a case of treating them as the rest of the team? They're all dangerous, and you need to look at the whole 11 on the pitch.
I think I would look at all the other managers or head coaches that faced them this year. They only allowed them to score 32 goals together and make 22 assists together. So I'll just look at what they have done and copy that, and then we'll be all fine. I think if we can, manage to keep Son and Kane quiet with none of them scoring or making an assist, I think we are pretty long down the line of making a remarkable result, but we know that's going to be unbelievable difficult. But of course, we'll try to do our best to keep them quiet.
Thanks for your time. All the best tomorrow.
Thank you. You're welcome.